Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to talk about what I would do with my career instead of following my passion. So most of my career strategy has been inspired by Cal Newport's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. So a lot of the ideas I'll be talking about in this video will be based on this book. Today I'm going to talk about the common advice of following your passion when it comes to figuring out what to do with your career. Why I think the framing of finding your passion is problematic, and what I think people are really trying to get at when they say, I'm trying to find my passion. And once I've clarified that, I want to talk about a few strategies on how to get there, how to implement the strategies. So first of all, I think the word passion has a lot of connotations with it, and it's not necessarily useful, and the word's pretty loaded. We have a lot of associations with it. Like for example, I could be passionate about a lot of things that aren't related to what I should be doing with my career. I could be passionate about going for walks, going hiking. I could be passionate about art or R&B music, whatever. I can be passionate about this social issue, that social issue. I could be passionate about soccer. We can apply the word in so many different contexts, and they're not necessarily related to our career. It's hard to think clearly about what we should be working towards when it's associated with what we're passionate about so abstractly. Another issue I have with the idea of finding your passion is that framing, it's focusing on what I can get from the world. Like, where can I find something that I'm passionate about? Where's that magical job that's gonna tick all the boxes where I rock up and I wanna feel fulfilled and that I finally found my passion and I'm gonna start working and not be dissatisfied with my job? I think, to put it really simply, we want a job where we have high satisfaction with that job. I think that's what we're aiming at. So that, to me, is one step more objective than finding something I'm passionate about. So in So Good They Can't Ignore You, Cal Newport talks about a few characteristics of jobs where people rate their jobs very highly. So in the book, he identifies three main criteria: control in your job, creativity, impact. Let me expand a bit more on those three criteria. So for control, it basically means you feel a sense of autonomy, right? So on one side of the spectrum, a job with high control, it means I can decide my own schedule, I can take breaks when I want, and I'm not being micromanaged. On the other side, it means I have no flexibility, I have to work a certain amount of hours, and I'm gonna be micromanaged every hour, where someone's gonna be checking up on me and telling me exactly what to do and how to do it. Another aspect of control is in terms of how much time you can take off every year. Like if you only get 2 weeks of leave every year and you want more, then you might feel like your job doesn't give you as much control over your life as you would like. So after control, there is creativity. If your job is creative, you have a say in how you implement the solutions and how to solve the problems, right? And you're going to be exploring ideas, it's going to keep you engaged, etc., rather than having to do the same boring thing over and over and over again. And the last criteria is impact. Having a job that has high impact means you understand that your day-to-day work has a real impact on the customer or your co-workers. It has a real impact on something. It's not merely doing work for the sake of doing it. It's not merely a theoretical exercise. So I guess ideally your job does have a positive impact on the world, and it's easy for you to appreciate the impact that you have with the work that you do. So that's control, creativity, and impact. So far we've shifted our frame from finding our passion to finding a satisfying job to finding an opportunity that satisfies a certain concrete criteria: control, creativity, and impact. The goal is clear and concrete. Like, I want to be able to get a job that gives me control, creativity, and impact. And not only that, when I have that job, if I were to lose it or if I wanted to take a break, I could be able to re-enter the market and get another job that satisfies that. That is like an opportunity. So how do I land myself that opportunity? Like, it's much different to where's my passion? Or how can I find my passion? I want it, right? To be able to get such a good opportunity, you've got to have the skills. So then the problem is a bit different now. The problem is, how do you get so good that you can land such opportunities? But I want to revisit the passion thing one more time because it's going to relate to the solution. So right at the beginning, we're trying to think, how do I find my passion? Now, if we flip that around with passion leads from competence, right? So what that means is when you get good at something, you're naturally going to find that you enjoy it. You're naturally going to become passionate with it. The strategy is pretty simple now. If you get really good and skillful, one, you'll be competent and you'll enjoy what you're doing because you're good. And two, you'll be so good that your employers are going to give you an opportunity that you want. That opportunity being the one where it has enough creativity, enough impact, and enough control. Hence, that's why it should start making sense now. That's why the book's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. The goal is to get such a good opportunity that you have high satisfaction, and the way to get there is to get so good they can't ignore you, that they're going to give you that offer. Otherwise, I want a job that I'm passionate about, yet I don't have any skills. Why would they give you that job? Why is someone going to give you that opportunity? I want to talk about how to implement that solution. So the solution is becoming so skilled and so good that they can't ignore you. So the way to implement that solution is to prioritize learning and learning the right skills. Right? So normally the right skills are the ones that are really hard and they're hard to learn and they're in high demand by the market. So you want something that people really, really need, yet it's really, really hard to learn. And for that, I have a few tips. Tip number one is you have to figure out how to make learning fun. Right? If you can make it fun, then you're going to be more effective, you're going to be more motivated to do it. In the long run, the effort's going to be more sustainable. Tip number two, you really have to learn how to learn. So now that we know that we need to learn all these skills, there are better ways to learn than others, right? So imagine you're all motivated and everything, and now you know what you need to learn, and you have, say, 2 hours a day to learn it. There's a better way to spend those 2 hours, and there are less effective ways to spend those 2 hours. It's just like you want to lose weight, and you're going to spend 2 hours in the gym. There are better ways to spend those 2 hours to achieve your goals versus less effective ways, right? I took a very good course called I Can Study. I'll link to it in the description below. But after I took that course, I feel like it really made me an effective learner, and it really empowered me and made me much more confident that I could learn anything that I wanted to effectively. Tip number three, if you could put yourself in an environment that's very conducive to learning, then that's just going to accelerate your progress. So an environment could be a class, it could be a company that you're working at, which is really supportive of education. It has people who have the skills that you want to learn, and they are happy to share and teach you. For example, at my current job now, I have a mentor, and some of the things he teaches me, it'd take me weeks to learn, but he can explain to me in half a day or even like an hour sometimes. So if you could find yourself in an environment that's really conducive to learning, it's going to be conducive to your overall goal of becoming really good. And my last tip for now is to prioritize learning over money in the short term. I still think money is really important in the long run for obvious reasons, like you need to sustain yourself and you got responsibilities. But if you can afford to, you should prioritize learning these skills and putting yourself in the learning environments over making money in the short term, because in the long term, these skills are going to give you that satisfaction with the career. If you do get good, it's very likely that your job you're going to land is going to be high paying anyway, right? It's not only going to hit the criteria that guarantees your satisfaction, it's very likely that it's going to be a high paying job because you're so good. An example of applying that principle would be investing in learning materials without being stingy. So if there are courses you know that would cut your learning curve, or books or textbooks, then go ahead and invest in them. If you need to get tutoring or you need to get private coaching, then pretty much consider those investments seriously. And another way would be to take a pay cut at a different job, yet that job provides more learning, more skills, and a better environment to learn. So what I'm saying is if you have two job opportunities, one's a bit higher paying, but you know you're not going to learn as much, but the other one's a lower paying job, but you're going to learn heaps, then if you're following this strategy, I would take the second option. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to share in this video. It's basically how I've been thinking about career for the last few years, what I think a good career goal would be, as opposed to merely trying to find my passion, which is a bit abstract, how to implement it, what kind of mindset should you have, an approach you should have once you realize you want to become very good, so that you're going to get the opportunities with creativity, impact, and control. So that's my approach so far. And I guess that's the advice I'd give someone if they asked me for career advice today. So I hope I summarized it all right in that video. Yeah, let me know what you think, and thanks for listening.